What up? I want to say first, I'm going to Houston hopefully tomorrow. God, I'm excited. See my family. And also, I might have mentioned in a previous video that there's a guy that builds these. I vape, okay? And he builds them, and he built me a custom one for the truck. And it's at my house, and I cannot wait to get that too. Because, oh man, it's gonna be fucking great. I'm gonna make a whole video based on it when I get to open it and play with it and get all my fucking shit set and all that. I don't ever have to charge it. It plugs right into the 12 volt thing, and it's gonna be awesome. But I kind of want to talk about my first week on the regional. It's been about a week. It's Thursday. I think I was dispatched on my first load for this route on Thursday, and I just want to talk about it. I'm at 2 hours and 34 minutes left on my clock right now for my 70, so I've been kind of driving my ass off. I get like 10 hours back tonight at midnight, which I plan on using to go and get my load that's I don't know how far up the road from here, to grab it, and then hopefully they could be loaded already. I don't have to wait. I just grab it and go to Houston. I'll still make on-time delivery with that. But yeah, it's been pretty hardcore. I'll say that I turned in one trip so far, and I turned that in. The one trip that I had was in the middle of my second trip, and I didn't want to T-call it because I'm not really worried about it, because I need that money for this check, because that's where my first truck payment comes out. But I turned in one trip, and it was for 1,200 miles, and about 90 of those were deadhead. So it was about 1,100 bucks, no truck payment, child support, loan, load locks, meat lock, all that shit came out, tolls, all that shit, my fuel, everything. And I still made $1,100 take home. Not bad at all for one trip. And then I was on a 1,200 mile trip from Florida back to Texas. I brought that to the yard, and then they dispatched me directly from the yard in Dallas to Laredo, and now I'm on the load that I'm on now, which is Laredo back to Fort Worth, and then now Fort Worth to Houston. So far, it looks like this load here, it was 400. My last load was 400. So let's see. Yeah, 1,200 miles on my first load, technical first load for this week. Then 456 for the second, 428 for this, and then it's probably about 200 to 300 miles. Maybe let's say 250, 260 miles from Dallas, or from Fort Worth back to Houston. That'll be about 2,000 miles. Not bad though. I would have had another 1,200 on top of that. So 30-something hundred, 3,000 something miles. I'm not gonna do the math right now. I'm still like in rest mode because I don't have to technically leave to go drop this load for another fucking 2 hours. 3 if I want to cut it close, but I don't want to do that because I'm trying to make sure I watch my clock as much as I can. But yeah, so not bad. All my pre-plans come 2 days beforehand. Like if it's a short 1 day load, they'll pre-plan me twice for one load right after the other. So I'm just rolling, bro. Like the only time I stop to rest is when I shut down for my 10s. And that is fun. I love that shit. I hate sitting around waiting and wondering and whatever. I will say, when I switched trucks, I lost the email address that I needed for them so that I could communicate with them more quickly than on the Qualcomm. And my DM's been out all week. But even despite all that, I've kept rolling. I have had very little downtime. The only downtime I have is like when I'm at. There was, like yesterday was the longest I've waited to get loaded. It was exactly 2 hours, right at the time that they wanted, and I wanted that because I wanted to be able to split my berth to get here where I am now. I think I'm in Troy, Texas, and yeah, it's been great. So they loaded this trailer down so much. The gross weight for this load, just the product, okay? I think it said 46,000 or 44,000. I'll tell you right now, 44,652 pounds net weight. So when I went to go get weighed with only a quarter tank of fuel, I was at 79,980 pounds. I was 20 pounds away from being at the legal gross limit for any truck driver to be able to roll with. So I went about 30 miles up the road and I got some fuel and I reweighed. 80,460 pounds. So I was overweight, 460 pounds. I posted it on the page that I tell y'all about all the time, and they're like, bro, you should go get that reworked. And then some other guy was like, bro, no, fuck it, you know, just get 50 to 60 gallons and roll, you know, maybe like 300-400 miles and get another 50 to 60 gallons and just do that. I did that early this week. I went from Laredo to Iowa. And by the time I had posted that, I was already rolling because I knew that my gross weight at a quarter tank was under gross weight, legal gross weight. And when I put the 60 gallons in, if I did end up getting weighed, I'd be able to say, well, it's the fuel, not the weight of the load or my truck. So maybe they'd let me slide. And that may not always be the case. You shouldn't do that. You should definitely go get it reworked. But I made a poor decision. I wanted to keep rolling because I knew my clock was running really low and I only had so much time, and I'm desperate to get home. And I saw they had already pre-planned me to go back to Houston, so I definitely wanted to have enough time to get back. So I made a bad choice. Luckily, there's two weigh stations northbound on I-35. They were both closed. I got the green light on both. One was closed, and I think another one was under construction or something like that. And there's no other weigh station from here to Fort Worth. So I was only rolling about 400 miles with this, the way that it was, and I took the chance. And I would recommend you don't, especially as a first year, second year driver. First year, your DAC points get tripled. Stevens Transport will probably get hit with the 2 because they're the carrier, and you represent them. And 2 years get double. So that could be pretty bad. But despite that, the ray of sunshine that I'll put on this cloudy fucking day of discussion is I'm still at 8.1 miles a gallon. Despite being over gross capacity, right? I'm still at 8.1 miles per gallon. Fucking ridiculous. I also say that one of my loads was a high value load, the one that was going to Laredo. I couldn't have talked about it while I was doing it, but it was a Mary Kay load. So that was 40,000 pounds of fucking Facey night cream. But they're proud of their shit. That shit was already loaded. I was able to. It took me longer there for them to fucking get their paperwork together because they're so. It's high value, so it's very security-esque. Like when I got to the drop yard, I had to like do a full inspection of the truck, mark down all the marks and shit on the trailer, the fuel, the tires, my driver's license, the fucking DOT on my truck, the license plate number, like fucking everything to drop this load on a door. And it's a clusterfuck there. There's not a lot of room. I got in my spot and I got lucky because as soon as I got there, you know, I did one pull up, so it didn't take me as long to get into the spot. But I pull up and I go to pull in, there's a fucking truck like right here on my side, and I'm having to like try to cock my trailer into it because there's a truck next to me, but there's an open spot over here on my other side. But this truck's just chilling right here, so it's in my way and I can't get my trailer straight. But luckily, my setup was great enough that I was able to get it in the hole enough that I was able to just straighten it out. Then I dropped my tandems back, dropped my trailer, went inside, waited in line for like 10 minutes for them to just say, all right, thank you, and here's the stamp of approval so you can leave. Then I bobtailed and I got the fuck out of there because there were so many trucks trying to get in and out of there that I felt like my truck was going to get hit. So I sat out there and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go to the Love's, I'm going to shower and eat and just relax at the Love's because there's restrooms and shit like that. I'm sitting on the staging area outside the receiver. And I didn't want to sit on the side of the road. So I drove up there. It was about 2 miles away. And they're like, all right, well, you can go to the Laredo yard. It was 1.1 miles from that Love's. Get an empty. and then go to Maricold to get this load. And I did. So I went and I got this load, and it's stacked up so much in the back that I'm afraid, even with the load locks, when I open that door, like, there's a good chance that shit could fall out. And that's a pallet full of whatever the fuck is in there. I think it's like ranch dressings or some shit. And that kind of weight could kill somebody. So gotta be careful, because we do open the doors before we dock. If this is a dropping hook, that'd be even better, because then I could just drop this motherfucker and go, you know. But anyways, yeah, that's how the week's been. Ready to go home. I'm ready to see my family. I'm ready to relax, although it won't be relaxing, because the day I go home is the night before we move. So wake up first thing in the morning and when the movers show up, it's balls to the wall, time to move. So I'm gonna leave my truck in the yard in Houston this time, and then when I actually come home, I'm gonna bring my truck home, and that's when we'll start the video process of like a day in the life of for, you know, TruckerDude's wife, and home time video or some shit that I could do where it's like the house tour or whatever, and it'll probably be like boxes and shit everywhere, but whatever. Anyways, I'm probably gonna run the AC now and take a small nap before I roll, because it's gonna be a long night, because I gotta drop this load and then hope that I have enough clock to park somewhere until midnight. Then I'll get my clock back, I'll split my berth, go pick this load up, and then take it to at least get to Houston tonight, and then drop the load at 9 in the morning. We'll see. Alright, remember, gents and ladies, love you, fucking ready, take care, and I'll see y'all another time.